Welcome back. So for many of you, you may be thinking about spring break and what you want to do. Well, it's good to start planning that next family adventure right now. So here to help us, we have best-selling National Geographic author Joe Yogerst. Good morning to you, Joe.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. I love this. You have this new book out, 50 States, 500 Campgrounds. And I do enjoy camping. I know it's for certain people, right? But I want to talk to you about this. You had a chance to experience more than just the campgrounds, right?
That's right. The book includes, your basic national park, national forest, state park campgrounds, but it also includes a selection of cabins and glamping experiences, tree houses, yurts, and canoe camping, RV camping, and hiking camping. So we tried to cover all bases on the camping front with this book.
That's awesome, Joe. How did you do this? 50 states, 500 different places, different types of camping, glamping. I mean, how much effort did this take? How long did it take you to get this together?
Well, it's an ongoing effort. This is the fourth in a series of 50 states books. And I kind of knew ahead of time what I'd be doing kind of years down the road. So I started accumulating information for future books while I was doing the first one back in 2017. So it's kind of basically a 5-year process of collecting information on cabins and campgrounds and glamping. And I did some trips specifically for this book that I had to start during COVID. In fact, camping is what got me out of my cabin fever during the beginning of COVID. The first trip I took away from San Diego was taking the family up to Palomar Mountain State Park to do a weekend camping.
Oh.
And then after that, we did a long RV trip in Utah to 5 national parks and 5 state parks there. So that was the beginning of the specific research for this book, but it also was the first time that I kind of got away from San Diego when the pandemic started.
Okay, I know that was really much a savior for so many people to just get out in nature and kind of get away from crowds and all of that. So of course, camping became very popular. So I am curious to find out from you how you've seen it evolve. I mean, it gets pretty busy. People have to book way in advance now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty busy out there. It depends on where you go and when you go. If you go to famous national parks during the summer, it's going to be elbow to elbow everywhere. If you go off season, it's a lot better. I mean, I love Yosemite in the snow, for instance, in the winter, when a lot of people don't want to go there. But also going to some of the not so well-known national parks. One of my best experiences was canoe camping with my daughter in Big Bend National Park in Texas on the Rio Grande River. Where we were, the two of us and our guide were the only 3 people in Santa Elena Canyon on the Rio Grande, an 80-mile-long canyon. And it's a really special experience when you know that you're the only people in this giant wilderness area.
I mean, isn't that what nature's supposed to feel like, where you're like this tiny speck just observing everything around you?
Oh, for sure, for sure. But the opposite is that we also did this RV trip in Utah where we drove from San Diego to St. George, picked up a rental RV, and spent the next week and a half going to various national parks and state parks, some of which were very, very crowded, like Zion and Arches, and some were not so much, like Canyonlands and Capitol Reef. So you really have to do your research, and I really recommend that people go to places in the off season or to parks that are not so popular.
Right.
And there's a lot of them out there. There's 10,000 state parks across the country, and a lot of those are just down the road an hour or 2 from home.
Right. You mentioned Palomar, because what's great is that you're here in San Diego, so you know all of the benefits of living here. We have great camping areas too, and Palomar is about to get 1.5 feet of snow, according to Evan. So that's also a great local spot. It doesn't take that far to drive and head out there, right?
No, it's 45 minutes from my house to where we set up our tent. And another great place that's close by that's in the book, which is actually cabins, or rather beach cottages, is Crystal Cove in Orange County, between Newport and Laguna. And it's now a state park, but they started life back in the 20s and 30s as beach cottages, and a lot of movies, silent movies, were filmed there at the time. They fell into disuse, and by the 1980s, the state park system was buying up the property and restoring them. And you can now rent them and literally walk out your door onto the sand at Crystal Cove.
Oh,
and that's
so
just
cool.
an hour away from most places in San Diego County.
Easy access for us, right? Joe, I also want to ask you, for people who may not want to, the word camping may give them anxiety, like, oh no, I have to be on the dirt, it's going to be gross, where do I shower? What words of wisdom do you have for them? There's ways to get around feeling like dirty, right?
Oh, sure. Well, you can stay in a cabin, and there's plenty of those that have been around for 200 years or less.
Right.
Or the newfangled glamping, which has been around since probably the late 80s, early 90s, which is glamorous camping, allegedly. But a couple of places I stayed, the glamping places like under canvas at the Grand Canyon, it's a safari-style tent like Africa. It has a nice big king-size bed. It has an ensuite bathroom with hot water shower, and they have a dining area and a bar area at the camp. And so that's camping without getting dirty and without having to put up your own tent or cook your own meals. So glamping is the way to go if you want to experience the wilderness under canvas, but you don't really want to go all in on the camping equipment or the putting it up yourself experience.
Okay, I love it. I like that you have the wide array to meet anyone's needs there. Thank you so much. Joe, real quick before we have to go, where can people get a hold of your book?
Well, on Amazon Books is one place, or tomorrow night at Warwick's Bookshop in La Jolla at 7:30, I'm doing a talk to launch the book, and I'll be signing copies and talking about my life as a camper. I figure I've spent about maybe 2 years of my life sleeping on the ground.
I love it.
And also how camping got me out of the pandemic and on the road again. So.
I love it, Joe. Thank you so much. At Warwick's tomorrow in La Jolla. Great to have you on our air this morning. Thanks for telling us all about your book. Congrats on all
Thanks
that
for
you've
having
done.
me.
All right. Take